science and innovation, we don't have any doubt, is the future.
It's about science, it's about curiosity-driven research, which is really the fundament of our research and our knowledge in Europe.
Science is exciting.
Well, thank you very much. You made this quite a great experience. These were 3 amazing days. I think we were a bit overwhelmed, frankly, on the Commission side. Overwhelmed by your participation, overwhelmed by more than, for example, 3,000 of you coming yesterday only. More than 5,000 of us watching all the sessions by web stream. And before the event, as you know, more than 6,000 responses to the public consultations. So now the challenge, frankly, is what do we do with all of that? Because what will be now extraordinarily important is that you all can see that indeed the Commission listened during these 3 days, in preparation of these 3 days, and obviously also that we continue this dialogue after the event and these 3 days of research and innovation. The senior management of DG Research and Innovation is with us, and they are present to share with you the outcome of these 3 days. And the teams of the Commission will now also ensure that this is really brought together. We will obviously make all of this public in the next few days and weeks. Maybe just before I move to the content, one last figure, which is the Science is Wonderful exhibition, which you saw briefly at the end with this kid saying science is cool. There were 2,000 kids going there during these few days, and 80% of them said that after the visit, well, they were primed a bit, but after the visit, that they will do science. So if only some of them do it, that would really be good. Thank you. So I think this is really a testimony that we need to reach out to school kids and citizens more generally. Now, what I want to do now briefly is to try to share the gist of it. I don't think there will be many surprises, but I think it's quite important that we all together take stock of what really came in these discussions. I mean, the first one, ministers and members of parliament and Carlos Moedas will be reassured, there is broad consensus on the orientation of the program. I think it is very clear for all participants that the strategic planning, really setting out the cross-cutting priorities in the next 4 years, is going to make a real difference. I don't think anyone, here again, maybe we primed you a little bit with the program, but I think this goes much beyond that. All of you recommended that really Europe and Europe's research and innovation takes the lead on sustainable solutions. That's sustainable science, sustainability science, but that's really sustainable solutions, packages of solutions across all policy areas, between policy areas. It's not a surprise, but I must say this is really the overwhelming expectation and demand from all partners of the framework program and European research and innovation policy. Thirdly, what is also very clear is that we are all, in fact, rather clear and ambitious and well aware that we are very strong on innovation and that we can lead on disruptive innovation. And disruptive innovation is now at the intersection between digital and physical. And frankly, where is engineering the strongest in the world but in Europe? And here also, I think, across contributions and discussions, and that is really across also all member states, the expectation that we will be able to lead in this disruptive innovation revolution. Some of you have said that, and I must say I very much agree, that Europe's creativity is unlimited. We just need to be a bit better at transforming it into results. Now, a few more specific main messages, now more related to the program, and again, very, very quickly. Firstly, we need to embrace a more systemic approach in research and innovation, sectors and discipline, that's of course very clear, but then also across the policy toolbox of public policies, and then across value change. So we need to continue to break silos, develop links, create ecosystems, and deploy regulation, investment, maybe taxation in some cases, and link it to research and innovation, and have research and innovation enable these developments. This, I think, is one of the strong points of European research. We need also concrete user cases to experiment with. I think this certainly came also in the session just now on partnerships, so as to be able then also to move to large-scale pilots. And this is where, frankly, member states and European programs really need to come together. I'm reassured to note that you all think that the public sector has a key role to play. I agree with you. Notably to promote inclusiveness, to ensure that citizens and stakeholders are part of the co-design of the process. And yes, by the way, the approach of these 3 days is, I think, entirely expected and demanded by you, and I'm really happy that we tried it during these 3 days. Obviously, we can only do better over time, but this, I think, is really the way you expect the public sector to develop its programs with you. We will need to continue to engage and communicate better with citizens, and there's a lot which is expected under the program. And then obviously, and that is something which we all know, and this is honestly not under Horizon Europe as a program, this is much broader, this needs to be done between member states and European Union institutions, between member state programs and European programs. It's the balance between curiosity-driven research and applied research and innovation. This is really essential, and this will also be the case, as you will see in this afternoon's end sessions. There was quite a bit of discussion in a number of policy areas also on innovation and regulation. We will need smart regulation. And then, not surprisingly, and I'm really happy that this came very clearly and very strongly, because in the Commission, as we co-created the present state of play, frankly, I'm not sure we got there yet, but you will help us now. This is the place of social sciences and humanities, and also the gender dimension. This came very strongly in the discussions, and I think in your input as well. And you really need to ensure that when we discuss artificial intelligence, mobility solution, health policy, this is embedded social sciences and a clear understanding of how our technology is happening and driven by society. So, in conclusion, the way of co-designing is fully supported. Commission services can commit to continuing to work together to support that. And I'm grateful again for member states to have helped us, national administration to have helped us to prepare these 3 days. This was really the European administration, composed of the Commission, composed of national administrations coming together, which met with you stakeholders. And this effort at working between member states and European institutions is entirely indispensable and very much expected from you. You can count, I'm sure, Carlos, on the Commission to continue to ensure that we work closely together in working with citizens and stakeholders. Now, just to finish this, a few quotes we just put together. We will see them now together. Just a few quotes of these discussions, which I leave with you. So I said that already. We should really take the lead. The Green Deal of President-elect Frau von der Leyen and of the next college is, I think, allowing us to be very optimistic on that. And I think research and innovation is going to be key. Well, your creativity was unlimited during these 3 days, and it will continue. Yes, this is an important one which I omitted. We should not prescribe solutions as little as possible. And clearly, I think this is one of the real added values of research in complement to other parts of the policy toolbox, because we don't regulate, so we enable and we provide space for then society, industry, and then public policies more generally to then deliver solutions. This is, I think, a very important dimension. Curiosity and purpose orientation, of course. Yes, innovation must be a core issue. It's a bit more than this quote here. Innovation must be a core issue or in programs, in instruments, but very much also in the way we work on policies, on shaping research and innovation priorities, and on delivering public policy. So innovation is clearly for us as the innovation, research and science community of Europe obvious. I think we need this conversation with the rest of society and our governments to ensure that this is embedded fully. Yes, lack of regulation should not be an excuse. This is an interesting discussion on better regulation in a bit of a novel way. Better regulation, sometimes good regulation gives targets, and this then generates a lot of momentum, a lot of investment. I think in research and innovation, we don't always need it, and we can really move forward with smart regulation or no regulation. And then, yeah, this is a nice one, isn't it? I mean, there's a bit of now, how shall I say, cognitive dissonance, in the sense that I spoke now for 3 days. But in reality, we listened for 3 days. So I'm not emblematic of what the Commission did. And I think this was really well enjoyed and liked by participants. And indeed, I must say the sessions were, and congratulations to member states and Commission colleagues, the sessions were really remarkable. And there was space to discuss and listen. Et je crois que c'était la dernière. Yes, no. Well, you are dreaming. I don't think we can bring you dreams, but we want to hear your dreams and then help you deliver on those. And I think that's the last one. So this is, in a nutshell, what I retain and what my teams have put together during these 3 days. There is so much more, which you will find back as we report on these Research and Innovation Day. But in fact, the work is now starting. Ministers need to work, the parliament needs to help us, and all of us, we now need to get this really down the line on partnerships, on missions, and on the priorities of the strategic planning. So a lot of more work and a lot of more opportunity to do that together. Thank you very much on my behalf. There will be a formal closing later, but thank you very much on my behalf for this amazing work. So now don't you leave the room. Don't you leave the room. A few people are leaving the room, but don't you leave the room, because now it's really starting. Because frankly, all of this is very nice. I like it a lot. I'm a public servant. The reality is that all these research policies, all these research outcomes, they don't exist without what the real thing is, which is science and curiosity-driven research. Without that knowledge, without these disruptive ideas, solutions cannot emerge. And we have now the incredible privilege of the highlight of these 3 days, which is a session with, not all of them, but many of the greatest minds in Europe under the umbrella of the Kavli Foundation, the other Nobel Prize. I probably shouldn't say that. I probably did a big blunder, but nevertheless, the other one, the Kavli Prize Foundation. And thank you very much also to the Norwegian Secretary of State, Rebecca, to be here today. Also with one of the presidents of the Kavli Foundation, Mr. Marshall. It's under your auspices that the session now takes place. Thank you very much. And who can talk about science? I can't. I'm not a scientist, you all know that. So I will now pass on the floor to the person who can really, with authority, expertise, and charm, speak about science. I don't think, Helga Novotny, I need to introduce you. I think if someone doesn't know Helga in this room, then I don't think he should have come to the Research and Innovation Days. Helga, you are one of our presidents of the European Research Council. You are an amazing scientist at the ETH in Zurich, amongst others. And you have been an amazing actor of this research, of this European research effort and of science in Europe. And you are the chef d'orchestre for the session now. I hand over to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.